eternity. Me no ye acronym ignore for mind for eternity. Say me they see at home because a obi brand. Me no need kasai no ma me kwan say me use mind for eternity. So, but I mean I don't have recapturing it as living from the mind of Christ, living from the mind of Christ. Paul trusts human comma Philippians I'm saying chapter 2 now didn't come on now or track come almost say be Christo and Namon so that they'll be able to imitate him. Yeah, well, COVID-19, a whole lot of people are talking about COVID-19. COVID-19 shall say, we believe, say, it was the end of the world. Now, COVID-19 so by no na ya dream ni so say a day or how can say a brave we are say na nanka ye pre-knowledge said or how can say brave we are say e bianca ye sisi ye ho eto honum but nam say na sa adwini bi any honinti no ye nyina eto ye unexpectedly mufanche me tree na meye eto ye mpofri mu nti ye mu bentimi anye ahoboa enu ho na me question is say nintinka ayampa say na wiase eba we ya na ahoboa ben na wa ye ato ho ahunsie ben na wa ye ato ho the free general conference eba ensafun enkitwa ni nyina mu no na ye mu bia nye ahobobo bia ento honum ntinka nyankopon eba march no mo lock ye down no na ye mu dodo sen na are you ready and we want to help ourselves with this presentation. If I show what Bible no from cover to cover nyankopon shroud but mama me asunde kakra na mama ye nche nyankopon asem ye be few pictures now I'm making a video just to drive down my whole a lot of points. Okay, so the opening king came in that was say mean about that say as a farmer that was young point shramo also let this mind be in you which was in Christ Jesus. Moshe is training so I'm underlining the word mind. In other words, you can't that version my servant version chronama. Or say, think this of yourself, which was also in Christ Jesus, or kasem atreyen ewahanum. Mind, yemubi, we interchange mind, for another thing. We always interchange mind for another thing. You call Greek kasemwa. Mind edge na ho emma bebia yedi efa adwene. Greek kasemre we kind of fronel. It's me German name to be in agreement, to set your mind on something, your thoughts, your reasoning faculty, or having one purpose or opinion, or your concerns. That one word, and that's what it stands for. And see, what is your intent? Our intent to say, nah, yes, about school, no people start question, no people start say, but I ben a territory. So, but I know yana a free a dream on Eden, ever. Minds for eternity. Now, the Greek usage, Yemuebre cardia ejnaoma akoma. Obi owa yes nakoma neti ye cardiac arrest. It's from that Greek word cardia. Ejnaoma akoma. So frenel. Let me move fast forward. Frenel ejnaoma thinking, like I've said. See, there were a lot of Bible passages. I want to save time. A lot of Bible passages. A man who say asema na omukano na asemo ejna adweno emu bonenye akomemu. What am I trying to point out here? Or say, let this mind be in you. Mama adwene wo Kristo mu enye akoma o yemu bebre ye kasem rebo ye kasem ka na makoma and I say there is difference between akoma and no adwene. Greek kasan so amayenya scientist no. And see, what are we talking about here? We are talking about our well-being. COVID-19 by affecting the brain. And so our well-being is so much important to us. We're going to look at something about the brain, how our brain performs. Saying and I dream, saying and I ejuma. And so I'll play this particular video, and then we'll move on.
Not so long ago, many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence, neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, there are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well-traveled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep traveling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire your brain.
And you know what? Again, in a video share no episode or share. We are talking about mind for eternity, living the mind of Christ. You move a brain, a war, preconceptions. Yeah, kasa, yeah, addition, nedikano. You will say, and then maybe they are just patterns of thoughts. Yedi ashe ya dream. But you move a brain, I must have no abeye part of us. Sabi edi ni pedriano enya. Sabi edi stampede or de some sort of friction about your relationship. What is neuroplasticity all about? You move a brain, your driver no. We will understand this particular concept. So I will set it with sat nav and I will turn to Trevor, baby, I will kono. What will address a gumana or expect to say to be far a different part. But upa address ni gumano, turn no, Because what travel that road now, you know, tom na then I accustomed to that road, you know. And so we yet then a do be for honum. We yes so person ko fa be a if san divert so why then as samba be fast up a kwan krona no so. Sa neuroplasticity, this is what it explains to us. Yeah, the yadwin esin nyema bi so a ye hu bibia enye ye. But what this video is trying to say to us is say, we can change the way we reason, the way we think. If we want to live the mind of Jesus Christ, a COVID by no, nenka ya se we ya, anka yensu benya chefa wa osro ahini enum ebi. And so we need to find a way to rewire our way of thinking towards our fellow human being and towards God. Yari ba yimbe brace said krano Mr. Meka mi nim de wodwe o wadwe mu de ebi krano wa bonya kopon subo se ade no ma we aba ma ohia ato ne mom wan ka se rather no aba ama mesen ehun wuye. And so we need to rewire the way we reason. Now, when we talk about something being toxin or toxic, bibia ye toxin ye sabi ye who said ye musi a lorry quine cotal. I mean tar no the residue true oil free mo ye engineering man there. I think you understand that. No asieno and crude oil whatever. And na omode ba be tar no. So idea car no enhia because e car no engine mu a ebe se car no sanso na nipa adwen no so no nema bebro ho e de ahye adwuma toxic. And when we say something is toxic, it means a resistance. The body resists such a thing. Sanso ena boni etie boni toxic to our human mind. So that's what I've explained here. When I say something is poisonous, something is very harmful to our relationship, could there be something that is very harmful to your relationship as we speak now? Relationship, ebe ya wawari, ebe ya said there was no woma etie, ebe ya said there was no afufro etie, bibi wo hwa amma relationship no abe toxic ana. Yakoye nim. Now, say bibi ewo ya dwimu aye or hawa ekwan be ne be fa so say ye be hohoro afri mu. How can we detox ourselves? How can we purge everything out? Adibi ohwa na eye ahye wo so uye ho bibia enye ye. I mean, and so it has become toxin in your system. Oh, what dream? You see, what are some of the things that we see as being toxic? What's a from your first baby beer now to throw yet? It's toxin. Your bonnie. Why ye baby ya more basso into wapai ukoko apai. Eye bonnie. Why ye juma ye and your boy be abaso. What the more abaso because you've been there like 20 years. Obi oba no ko ya bona abaso. Into a shower dream masabe. They will dream na no in so. But oh ye bonnie so who say oh ye bonnie. Eye toxic, we need to detox it. Not being able to resolve conflicts. Or how about told and tem. Yes, say, what's me call me how na resolve na it's in my wide dream da whole hand to say Christo Diano. You're not able to do it. Uno be in Yakasakasa or Italy or wherever you've come from. Opa hano, I saw if you were any born pano so na trigger it in the mind. It goes back to the old paths. But neuroplasticity says we have to mend the old way and travel a new path. And so we need to do well to resolve conflict all the time. Say, one no bantem, one no irintem, say one no asafu bantem. We do it. So oye botuguni, oye mokan you can say a motugo. Yeah, a motugo. Oye motugo ni. What can't so much and budget and cross cancer? Oh, my menu. All these things we need to detox it. What can't some panachen no osio jai the eye syndrome? You be drew honum. Bibia ename. The biano or no corner person be as an so the eye syndrome. We have to detox it. Not Christo any side dreaming be you be drew honum. Church politics. Edienya. Church politics. Yemfa politics in heaven. So yeah, the politics be heaven and carbon some Yakopon Antone free heaven. Church politics, we have to detox it. Yeman Yakopon enim na yenye bibia. A drew mra ye asafum penny foa. Near politics akasiye. And a women in free Italy and buy ye wo Italy no ya dear pa. It's only now on sorry penny. Women no other. It's all I mean, church politics. Na obon sam disa or how na babe twas afunim. Na yon kondwa ye na ye what that there it's on no obon sam that for na or how about to asafunim. Na ojabe to asafunim. Na ojabe to fie. Ebuson way enkasa because they call nominating committee, when a bomb to go here, when a bomb suggestion to go here. Please, let's do away with church politics. Let's detox it. It will not help. Poor communication. Okunu or irin kasa. Or ireno ema enkasa. Nina wa ya safumu. Nina wa ya fie mu. All these things, and yet Christo are dreaming. We need to leave the mind of Christ in this present world. Se make it to heaven now. Or you didn't know okun da empaso. And so you didn't know okun kasa. Ye beni pemwa na ye play married kakra. Onyankopon ehwe wo. Ye be beni naso territorialism in church. Ekuo is different from say Masheda artist small group. Bobe kona we nu ya bowe and I show near casafa we won near casafa we won and then in pabwa tinting and then a tidy biashe and then you create territory to where we are now doing concern. I mean, all these things are a war are dreaming, they are all thought patterns are anyhow, but we create them. Say a year a dream. Say we create all this territorialism. They are thought patterns are anyhow, but we make them to be materialism. Hey, don't get me wrong. Nyakopon shira ahimfubimu ewo trosem. Ye wiase mu we shira manfo bebre, but omu masa niema no ensi omu nyankopon a relationship mu. It is say, oh dear no materialism, a ma will no nyankopon som no a bra, then you have to detox it. Obi ho na tade o sheba sorry no, obi say obi hu atade no sheye no, asori oba nyankopon besom ye no, no e die wom no na a withdraw na beka nipadua no nko. This is what materialism is all about. We need to detox all of this. Mistrust. Asoriba enye asoripenini obede no de nasema ba bedawo. Asoriba enye ne yonkon asoriba eni obede no na chenasem. When there is mistrust, small groups can never work. When we in kasa ebede na ma form a small group, it can never work. And the purpose of small groups It's for you to bring a fufro to the church. No, because say it's me take it time not to convert you. Be yes, it is true. But a small group should always be very authentic. Being authentic means say me be fear. Say be me say yo, u bedroom cry me raho because minim say u pay free bedroom na kwa bontin on farmer sem enko to abontin. This is what we call trust. And if mistrust is within the church, small groups will never ever work. Because the more fun about the come who are on come home as Asafubano or bar or Shesa Nima Wimunina, and now ultimately are making a decision. Now in small groups, we've got something that your friend belonging, behaving. I've forgotten the third one. There are 3 B's. Because so about the come who are Musua Mukitas Asafono and no na all share. Into mistrust, we need to detox it as church members. Resentment, Yaudia, and Faswo, anyhow. Ewo so, ewo miso. Means Tanyago Penim in Trantro, in Ewo Yaudi, Ahudua, Koso, Ewo Yemu. Assembly will be can and nano, no paya, 1 can ye, Kotsi ne treno. Ama wafa yaudia enfaso bia eniso enunti esiwo no nyankopon ayonkofa entem odi eno ahye wotrim. It is just a thought partner eni honum. We need to detox all of these things. Me disika ko mami nwie bi waye ne basa na enu na hye wotrim. We need to detox all these things. Romans 12:2 says, do not be conformed to the standards of this world, but what? By the renewing of your mind. It's not when your mind is renewed, the heart will follow. I want to hear you misuse these 2 words. When my mind is renewed, and I'm detox all this form of toxins that want me more atweguno. Now my I renew, then I start to live with the mind of Christ. This particular picture, the last general conference, a course, mentimi and Kobe, but me cross hanum. I'm shit even. You see why I brought this and say, to area view, I saw colors, and Yakupon so energy colors. And what came to my mind was heaven, how heaven is going to look like. Different colors, sea of colors, cocoa, tuntun, fita, green and everything, sea of colors. And I'm like, until we're able to detox all this toxic substance in our system, we can never have a good relationship with God. And we can never be part of those people who will make it to the city center of heaven. And coupon shall say, well, far dream now, why then? Well, what detox so? Let's go on with another video.
While the brain is our most complex organ, its main objective is simple: to keep us alive and achieve our goals. It does this by helping us breathe, eat, walk, and talk, the basic essentials to our survival. It is geared to search for any dangers in our environment and primes us to respond quickly. What's more, our brain gives us the ability to plan ahead, solve problems, experience emotions, store memories, and communicate with others, all the things that make us human. Our brain is the control center of our entire body, driving our every thought, feeling, and action. Just how do our brains do this? There are 3 main regions within the brain that serve a specific function as we interact with our environment. At the base of our brain is the primitive region. In the middle, the feeling region. And at the front and top of our brain is the thinking region. While these three regions have their own special function, they operate as one connected network to keep us alive and reach our goals. The primitive region of our brain looks after those basic life functions that just happen automatically, like our breathing and heart rate. It also helps coordinate our basic physical movements, such as our balance and posture. More than this, it plays a key role in scanning our environment to search for those things that may threaten our chances of survival. This helps the instinctual part of our brain kick into action automatically. The middle feeling region of our brain plays a significant part in our emotional and social experiences through life. This is the part of our brain where emotions and impulses, such as anger, fear, and pleasure come from. It is activated when our primitive region detects a threat in the environment and triggers our fight or flight response. This region drives many of our behaviours and habits and helps us form memories and attach feelings to them, particularly when we experience strong feelings, such as fear or happiness. Lastly, the thinking region is the largest and most highly developed part of the human brain. It stores our memories, allows us to plan, enables us to imagine or analyse a situation, find a solution, and communicate with others. It is the part of the brain where we can take control of decision-making and emotion and override our automatic responses from our primitive and feeling regions. Our thinking region gives us our likes, dislikes, hopes and ambitions, those things that make us uniquely human and different to all other animals on this planet. These three regions of the brain work together to coordinate our every thought, feeling, and action.
All right. The numbers making a video no actually. So we are can't mental well-being wasem. How we can recondition our mind for eternity. Because adrenal and BBI then processes BIA FMO. That's a processor FMO no, and yet in conformity with the will of God a mandates or their mind things we need to model or their mind a free candidates for heaven. So what are the principles that we need to form to have a makeover? To have mind for eternity. The first is to have a makeover. You have to take an inventory. Yes, yes, your brabo ni ehwese de esiko. Yes, your brabo we are etwaso. This is what we need to take a look at. The next video is a video of an ex-military officer. Abrabo Ekutiano, Adwino call Basa. But when he was given a makeover, there was some sort of transformation. The purpose of this particular video is not about say but it's about what you think in your head, that thought patterns, and I need you to concentrate on. for America the Mebonnet Hotel. Video near Koshe, no. Emery no, say, Yamma, no, and penny fungus or the Dabon things to be any part. This is exactly what we saw. He agreed. Mama, yanti bibiasio. You say, Sabbath schools are ye tremono, previous Sabbath school are tremono. You say, each time Bia, yes, be performing miracle, Biano, there was always a willingness. If that willingness is not there, the miracle can never take place. Jim Wolfe had the willingness to transform, to have a makeover in his life. And so, Christo ni mami papa said the willingness to recondition, to have a neuroplastic mind anywhere, that transformation cannot take place. How can we have a change of our reality? Tembiano, I dream that the same thoughts, no, the same path when it's leading us to choose the same choices, at the same time showing the same, excuse me, showing the same behavior and actions. The old way of thinking is giving us the same experiences and at the same time the same feelings. That is the old way, but when we have a renewed mind, then we have new thoughts, new choices, new behavior, new actions, new experiences and new feelings. That gives us a new state of mind. And I believe Jim Wolfe, when he moved away from the old way of doing things, old way of behaving, now he has given in for a new life. Dofu Christo ni minim ni awom. Minim se wa ma ho kwan se Nyankopon emma wo adwen foforo. I don't know, but this is the plea that is coming from the throne of grace to you this morning. E.G. White is saying, also the mind here must be free from all human enchantment. It must not groove or groovert to humanity, but soar aloft to the spiritual, taking hold of eternal. What do we mean by human enchantment? And nema a belief system and many panel. That is what E.G. White is saying. Religion, party, and so on and so forth. That could be a human enchantment. And then a trim free or Christo dohono a do ko wiasino. This is what E.G. White is talking about here. But we should rather allow ourselves, we should have a free mind from all this human enchantment if we want to have or live the mind of Christ. The theory of mind controlling mind is originated by Satan, who is a chief worker to put human philosophy where divine philosophy is. Bebia onyankopon inyansan ni nkyeremu na adwen edano obonsama ya masebe onipa de ne die aba behyewo. We need to free our mind from all this. This is an advice from E.G. White. Now we need to take an inventory. We're born in Tengos Tamoko. Taking an inventory. Love. Miwa odana matike. Yesu odana ai. Miya impartial. Asemo ba bebi edana mi detwana. Jidini. Asemo wa o kan. Ya tru break kakra. Ewom se sana assemnitie. Na ne momuno. Pe. Ekwan pa eso efa ka asem no a. Entry unua. Yes, be impartial. Say it the way it is. But say it honorably. Me ye invasive ana. Me obi asem ba ye kan. Na me yi me ho ano ana. Me ye stubborn. Me stro say mesana. Take inequalities. Me nyenyi yimuo. Ma take discrimination. Me pampa nipa mfiri ho na we oye dankatini na we oye hwani na we onim nyansa na we oye say na we oye say. Are you dismissive? Obo same to go na nyina we year to go. What take inventory? Now moving forward from there, Emreko now say what happens? The now. And then I Joshua Katre ne chidi for. Or say the Lord gave freely unto Israel. I didn't know cancer because he was talking about the decisions they were making then. Because now Israel for Ayumaju say almost ko echi akofa abosumu na omuna namo worship no, but Joshua summed them all together and asked them to make a decision, a concrete decision. Ochum said they have to come clean to me, and then Miss Me was say, are you coming clean about real issues? Are you discussing those things I want to know we didn't discuss? Nah. Are you discussing those things I want to know we didn't discuss? Nah. You have to give account, be connected. Philippians 4:8. In everything you do, do that to praise God. But we need to move on. What is actually the mind of Christ? Galatians 5:22-23. Oka abba, the fruits of the spirit here. These are the components that makes up the mind of Christ. If I want to live with the mind of Christ, I need to have the fruits of the spirit. I'm not paying that or people start questioning me. But I also need to say or not say, having corner and a game of numbers. But God is not interested in quantity. God is interested in quality. Quality, not quantity. If all human will live a quality life, God is going to take everybody to heaven. So we need to have all this. Now, not having the mind of Christ means we are not of him. That's the eye syndrome that I was talking about. If you have the eye syndrome, Bibiano, na Paul Kanye, or see, and Yamina Mitzi, Asibian, but name or Christo da Ashemima, mean that it's no longer me. So having the mind of Christ, do I have the mind of Christ? Do I share this with my neighbors? What about myself? They're taking Christ's yoke upon me. Christ was gentle, or phobia how ekta. But Busan say, who was sa isuni biana? What's me a control one? And I'm the kankaino, assembly bar, and yeah, before so. Say the way it is, but please respect the individual you are directing the assembly to. Be self-control. Sebe, I think say that Peter Timo, or should I say, who is qualified to be a leader of a church? Because if you are not qualified to lead your home, if you don't have self-control at home, you can't have self-control in the church. And this is what it means that you don't have the mind of Christ. I did not come this morning to attack you, but I came to say it as it is with Christ's word. The mind, Christ had a humble heart. Wam pidano ho nyeso no nyame eyepe e man no wasase so ano tembiano or directing everything to God. Philippians 2:7, he gives service to humanity. He gives service. Ebia minya mami papa utemi ebia oye ade ewo hono. But what's the intent behind it? Se bebu abasunti ana Christo bae no wa meye adoye se ye mona baso. Obeye ebe share unyame animunyam. Nti wadoye awoye no ye na enhye Nyankopon animunyam. Christo glorify Nyankopon. So a kind Philippians 2 now, it kind of deals with how to imitate Christ. I'm trying to sum up here. Now, back to E.G. White again from the book titled Sanctified Life. I'll say, let none of you imagine that without the earnest efforts on their part, they can obtain the assurance of God's love. When the mind has been long permitted to dwell on earthly things, and free Christ so promotion or say a cheerful heart, a akuma, debia na dream ewo onyame so. The na dream ewo se onyame adwuma beko so. The na dream was to say me pe heaven akọ. It's yes nyankopon adwuma no nipa ebeko ho no edoso. See about why it say yenya dream free. We are seeing niema so na yen dwelling wo niema e de ebeko. I say it is difficult matter to change the habits of thoughts. You share what neuroplasticity is all about. You share say video, no? Not until we're able to change the way we reason, then there'll be problem for us. Then I'm trying to cut this short, but if we would enter the city of God and look upon Jesus and his glory, we must first become accustomed to beholding him with the eyes of faith. And so you didn't want asafo hima no mukwa. Because the Bible be ya adwene nam no eno Nyankopon de enye den. Agree. The words and the character of Christ should often be subject to our thoughts. Each day, sometimes should be especially devoted to prayer. I know person school no ye who say and so ehun ehia for whatever. I mean, trying to bring this thing to a close, time will call, yeah. Now, question me and then say, is it too late to give ourselves to him who had sacrificed all for us? So, a catch say, me sacrifice na nye koswadwin mu nyina niama ma hold against me nua me kunu me yere me mma madafo asafoba. Is it too late? Say me mani nyina akwa na. And I say you be choose friendship of the world. Na yeja onyankopon eho onu a oye immortal a osisi baby pa amayen. Oko na oko sisi baby say ye be ba ne abetena ne nchene no ye no ebu ahinie. Is it too late to have a renewing of our mind? Minya dofo eye asembusa kese ema. The year I think say either 1914 or whatever. We all know about the Titanic. Now, ye can't sorry na yanem repi no ye nema here a free mo. Na onua be me ye friend of John Happy. He was just a new graduate from college. He was also on the ship. And graciously for him, he had the opportunity, even at the point of death, to campaign for Christ. Obeskenia Nyankopon na don manitimi enya nkwa no a wanwu no bi no, she gave the account. John Harper na dua kitwa bi ship no ba bi dua bi ene kita no a oda esu wonso nani. Na wa na tide na bono na de ne connect na ba. Na be fama me no ho. No abusa no. Woji Ewrade Yesu di. No ma me na hwe ni din. na tide na san bonnet no call na the number. And then sad no calling by sa. Now the last time obusa mama no tide didn't buy obusa and say, so say wajina media na have you now believed? Inti enemisumi busa will say, have you now had a change of mind to put on a mind for eternity? Onyankopon emwa wo. Onyankopon enum wo. Onyankopon enum wo. Se kakra odi adom ye wie no. Se empo situation a esosene COVID-19 eba na tu empo frimu a ebeba no emetu emma se de ye ko oseye mu. Nimu mebeba se ya bobo ye ho asie. Onyankopon ekudi na eni ewie. Onyankopon enka ho. Konfa unsi na tabanke sinase. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Also for that was ewo Christian sema wode amaye Nyankopon hyira so na onom ye na yentimi emfanya adwuma na adwene da Yesu Kristo trim no ebi atumi ada Yesu trim. Nyame hyira o. Da nyina ase. Stamasi patrol obemaye closing hymn no.
Basho your elder. Ya mi genti ti boafupa ni jen ni dasu awu yemu jegwan kopia ni yen dada pifi wahi wano yunu hasi na ye betra juju ubasanku na eje dina hem oje huba wonye nyimbipo edinu na wu ye hasa si ufititi nyenya kupo diko sidenina weni fishia apimtise enyumre hejemu nititise adirichi riha ripwe Breti Sumontin Aswani Madi won kom Wotu Hari Fuko Sedai Yesa wo adichi Isiane etwato no osi nyame yen tete boafo pa ne yen anidaso yen wiefo onkwan ne na yi mu ene yen da apemfie nya mi genti ti boafo pa mi jen heni dasu